Hi, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to continue my talk on George Gurdjieff. This is the part 2 of the series. In this video, I'm going to talk of his famous Law of Octaves, or it's also known as Law of the Seven. The famous scientist Nikola Tesla once said that if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibrations. George Gurdjieff in his Law of the Octaves point towards vibrations. So what he says is that universe, right from coarse to fine, is made up of vibrations. And vibrations, whether ascending or they're descending, these vibrations do not develop in equal parts. There are periods of acceleration or deceleration in the process of the build-up. To take one example, in case of a vibration which is ascending from 1000 notes to 2000 notes, what he's saying is the development will not be in equal parts. There could be small portions of deceleration or retardations, which means if the frequency is developing like this, there would be a shift, which is a period of retardation. It will develop further and then there will be a period of retardation like this. So with that period of deceleration, there is a change in the direction. So what essentially Gurdjieff is trying to say is that whether it is ascending or descending vibration, it is not moving in equal build-up. And with deceleration and acceleration, which is changing, there is a change of direction. Essentially what he's saying is, because of which there are no straight lines in nature. Nature moves in cycles. And this is exactly what even Hindu mystics have pointed, the eternal samsara, the wheel. So this is something that he's trying to say in this law. It's a very powerful law. Essentially what he's trying to say is vibrations make the universe. And there's another concept that he uses a lot, is a concept of macrocosm and microcosm. So if the universe is the macrocosm, man is a microcosm. The rules that are applicable on the universe will apply on the man as well. Sometimes it's easy to study these rules in a man. Sometimes it's easy to study these rules in a universe. But irrespective, the rules are applicable on both sides. There is another old saying which is as above, so below, which is the same thing. So what he's essentially trying to say is, if the universe is moving in circles, the nature is moving in circles, the same laws are applicable on human beings also. We can also have a tendency to move in circles. The beauty of this law is not that we know this law and we cannot do anything about it. In fact, we know this law so that we can do something about it. So what he's trying to say is that if there is this circle of vibrations, the eternal circle that we're talking about, if we can identify where it is deaccelerating, that is the time where we can put extra force, extra effort. The word that Gurdjieff uses is the word additional shock. Now if you take this example in a very practical day-to-day life, like you start reading a book, you read the first chapter and second chapter very quickly. In the third chapter, you put a book reader or a bookmark, and then it takes sometimes a lot of time, a lot of days before you can start reading the chapter, or sometimes you don't even read the chapter again. What he's trying to say here is, if we know where there's a dip coming, we should give the additional shock, put the extra pressure, put the extra force. So this is very important for a spiritual seeker. There will be times that we are following a particular path, and after a while there will be a dip there, and that is exactly the time to put the extra effort. And that extra effort is needed. This is fundamentally his law of octaves. To summarize, what he's saying is that vibrations, whether ascending or descending, are not developing in equal portions. There are periods of dips, acceleration or deceleration, which changes the direction, and things tend to move in a circular pattern. If you look at the history, I was reading a beautiful quote by one Arabic thinker, I forgot his name. So he was saying that tough times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create tough times. If you look at the history of the world and the politics, very often, when there are good times, we actually create weak men, which eventually create bad times. Ultimately, we're pointing back to the same circle of existence, cyclability of existence, and it applies to the universe, it applies to us, and it applies to everything that surrounds us. The other thing which is very important to keep in mind is, so what Gurdjieff is trying to say here also is that everything ascends or everything descends or it decays. So nothing is static because everything is a vibration. Either you are ascending, you are descending, or you are degenerating. So whether it is us as humans or it is celestial bodies, the heavenly bodies, earth, sun, everything goes through a cycle. So there is no possibility of staying static. How much ever we may want, that thing does not exist in nature. You cannot be static. You cannot stay in a comfort zone all the time. So remember this thing, which is very important, is that things are either ascending, they're descending, or they are decaying. So if I have to summarize this law of octaves in 3 points very quickly, first is things are moving in circles. Be aware of it. And what is the way to break it? The way to break it is to apply additional shock at the point of a dip. And third thing is, there is only conscious effort that we can put. If we don't put conscious effort, the only thing we have is either a decay or a descent. So these are the 3 things I think which are the takeaways from Gurdjieff's law of octaves. Now what I've done is I have put this in a very simplistic term. Gurdjieff uses the 7 scales of a note, do, re, mi, fa, and he gives a very elaborate explanation. But I think those explanations can be read at your free time. What I wanted to convey today in my small talk was basically the essence, the central principle of what he's trying to say. And for those people who are interested in knowing more about Gurdjieff, this is a great book. It's In Search of the Miraculous by P.D. Ouspensky. And I'll just open the chapter where he explains the law. You see, he's shown some frequencies, vibrations, how they're changing shapes, and how what we get is actually a circle. Things don't move in straight lines, as he says. So that's it for today. I will continue my series on Gurdjieff, and it was going to be a long series. Stay with me, and as I mentioned last time, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and spread the word. Meditation and spirituality is a very hard subject to spread across. So please help me in this journey. Thanks a lot.